You wake up, but not fully. The air is too still for that. It wraps around your skin like something that doesn't want to be touched. Damp, silent, and quietly judging. Your fingers ache. Your lips are dry. Even the cold feels unfinished, like it started hurting you yesterday and got distracted halfway through. The sky above you is dull, the kind of gray that gave up being blue decades ago. And beneath you? Just soil. Wet. Heavy. The kind that remembers things no one should. You sit up slowly, careful not to disturb the silence. Because here, even the wind keeps its voice down. What if history erased you? Not with a war, not with a bullet, not even with a lie. Just silence. Paperwork. An unsigned order that sent your name to a boat and your body to a place that doesn't exist on any map anymore. A place they promised would be new, better, temporary, which is one way to describe a patch of mud with no shelter, no food, and no way out. Nazino Island. You were told it was just a transfer point, but the guards stopped correcting people after day 3. Your stomach reminds you it's still there, just in case you forgot. It's mostly decorative now. They gave you flour, remember? Just flour. No pot, no fire, no instructions. Which is charming, in a way, like giving someone bricks and saying, "Build soup." You look around, everyone's pretending this is fine, which is the same thing as survival now, pretending. There's a man licking tree bark like it owes him money, a woman staring at her own hands like they've betrayed her. Someone is asleep under a pile of leaves that aren't fooling anyone. And over there, someone's boiling their belt. Leather, apparently, pairs well with starvation. You're not a prisoner, technically. You're just undesirable. A word that lately seems to mean cheaper to misplace than to feed. But you're here now, and you've got time. So go ahead, lie back. Let the dirt hug your spine. Listen to the whispers of people trying not to panic, and the ones who already stopped trying. And while you're here, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see where forgotten stories find new listeners. Back on the island, there are no birds, no footsteps, no structure, no plan. Just a slow unraveling of people who were already tired before they got here. You think of home briefly. A kitchen, a coat, a door that opened without someone watching. You were not a criminal. You were not dangerous. You just were. And in 1933 Soviet Russia, sometimes that was enough. So you curl up again, eyes closed, breathe in the damp, the quiet, the weight of whatever this place is. This isn't exile. It's erasure, dressed in mud, sealed in silence. Welcome to Cannibal Island. They don't call it that yet, but soon they will. You wake up, but not fully. The air is too still for that. It wraps around your skin like something that doesn't want to be touched. Damp, silent, and quietly judging. Your fingers ache. Your lips are dry. Even the cold feels unfinished, like it started hurting you yesterday and got distracted halfway through. The sky above you is dull, the kind of gray that gave up being blue decades ago. And beneath you, just soil, wet, heavy, the kind that remembers things no one should. You sit up slowly, careful not to disturb the silence, because here, even the wind keeps its voice down. What if history erased you? Not with a war, not with a bullet, not even with a lie. Just silence, paperwork, an unsigned order that sent your name to a boat and your body to a place that doesn't exist on any map anymore. A place they promised would be new, better, temporary, which is one way to describe a patch of mud with no shelter, no food, and no way out. Nazino Island. You were told it was just a transfer point, but the guards stopped correcting people after day 3. Your stomach reminds you it's still there, just in case you forgot. It's mostly decorative now. They gave you flour, remember? Just flour. No pot. No fire. No instructions. Which is charming in a way, like giving someone bricks and saying, "Build soup." You look around. Everyone's pretending this is fine, which is the same thing as survival now. Pretending. There's a man licking tree bark like it owes him money. A woman staring at her own hands like they've betrayed her. Someone is asleep under a pile of leaves that aren't fooling anyone. And over there, someone's boiling their belt. Leather, apparently, pairs well with starvation. You're not a prisoner, technically. You're just undesirable. A word that lately seems to mean cheaper to misplace than to feed. But you're here now, and you've got time. So go ahead. Lie back. Let the dirt hug your spine. Listen to the whispers of people trying not to panic, and the ones who already stopped trying. And while you're here, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see where forgotten stories find new listeners. Back on the island, there are no birds, no footsteps, no structure, no plan, just a slow unraveling of people who were already tired before they got here. You think of home briefly, a kitchen, a coat, a door that opened without someone watching. You were not a criminal. You were not dangerous. You just were. And in 1933 Soviet Russia, sometimes that was enough. So you curl up again, eyes closed. Breathe in the damp, the quiet, the weight of whatever this place is. This isn't exile, it's erasure. Dressed in mud, sealed in silence. Welcome to Cannibal Island. They don't call it that yet, but soon they will. You wake up again, though now even the act of waking feels optional. You are already halfway between sleep and surrender. The kind of sleep where your dreams don't bother showing up because they've learned not to waste their time. It's early. Not that you have a clock, but the fog hasn't finished laying itself across the island yet. It drifts slowly, like it's covering something, or maybe trying to forget. You sit up, not because you want to, just because your body hasn't figured out what else to do. Movement feels like a habit now. The earth under you is damp, still, unapologetically indifferent, as if it doesn't care whether you lie down or stay lying down. There's a noise behind you. Nothing sharp, just a shuffle. Someone stepping over someone else. No one says, "Excuse me," anymore. No one says much of anything. You notice there are fewer people than yesterday. Again, they're not being buried. No one has the strength for that. Besides, the ground here is shallow and stubborn. It holds on to the dead like it's waiting to be convinced. Some say the guards are taking people away at night. Others say people are running, which would be strange, because there's nowhere to run to. The island is surrounded by water, and the boats don't come back. Someone near the trees found bones this morning. Just bones. No clothing. No explanation. And no one's asking too many questions. Curiosity here is dangerous. It looks too much like hope. You walk slowly toward the river. You're not sure why. Maybe just to pretend the world is larger than this island. Or maybe to count how many people are still staring at it, wondering if they could swim. They can't. It's too wide, too fast, too cold. And even if they could, where would they go? You sit on a log, or what might have once been a log. Now it's just a wet, flattened ghost of a tree, kind of like everyone else. You hear someone mumble something about soup again. There hasn't been soup in days, but the word comes up a lot, like a memory people can chew on, because food isn't really a thing anymore. It's more of a concept, an idea that visits people in dreams, then leaves quietly by morning. The woman with the potato is still here. She's still holding it. It's turned gray. You're not sure if she's guarding it or saying goodbye. She hasn't spoken since she got here. No one knows her name, but everyone watches her because she reminds them of something they used to believe in. Something soft. Something still intact. Two men are fighting over a shirt. Not with fists. Those require calories. They're just pulling silently, as if whoever holds on longest deserves it more. One of them lets go, not because he lost, just because he remembered what else might happen if he wins. You don't look. There's nothing to win here. Not really. You walk back toward the center of the camp, if you can call it that. No tents, no order, just wet clothes strung across dead branches, and little pits dug into the mud where people try to sleep or hide. A child coughs nearby. The sound is small, but sharp. Everyone hears it. No one moves. Not because they don't care, but because they can't afford to. Compassion is heavy. It takes energy, and that's already spoken for. You sit again. Your body feels lighter, but not in a good way. The kind of lightness that comes from emptiness, like a cupboard or a grave. You watch the guards. They don't look at you. They rarely do. They mostly watch each other. Even they seem unsure why they're still here. The rifles are slung low. Their coats are warmer than yours. Their eyes are more hollow than you expected. Rumor is they don't have enough supplies either, which is somehow comforting and terrifying, because when hungry men are given power, what follows isn't usually generosity, it's improvisation. You hear a scream in the distance, or maybe a sob. It doesn't matter. No one reacts. Your ears learn to ignore the sharp things. They make room for the soft sounds, the breath of the river, the quiet groan of damp wood, the whisper of hunger walking past you in bare feet. You lie down again, not because you're tired. Tired stopped being the right word weeks ago. Now you just pause, like a broken clock that still moves, but only when no one's watching. And while you rest your eyes, if this story has kept you here, even just quietly, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if it feels right to you. And let me know in the comments, where are you listening from? And what time is it right now? Sometimes I wonder how far a story like this can travel. The sun is already setting. It's not even late. But the sun here, it seems to have lost interest, like it's embarrassed to shine on this place too long. You close your eyes again, not to sleep, just to forget what's still ahead. Because you've heard the word, the one people whisper now, the one no one wants to believe, but everyone knows is true. Cannibal. It slips between conversations, unspoken, but present. A word that doesn't arrive loud, but crawls in the back of your mind and makes itself at home. You wonder who said it first. You wonder if they still have a name. You wonder if you'll still have yours when this is over.
You don't sleep anymore. Not properly. Just moments of stillness, small escapes, like a tired breath that forgets to come back. You wake up, not because you want to, just because the cold got louder. It found a new corner in your spine to whisper into. You curl tighter, as if folding yourself smaller might trick your stomach into silence. It doesn't, but it makes the hunger feel contained, like a secret, one you already know how to keep. You sit up slowly. It rained again. Of course it did. This island, it specializes in dampness. It doesn't matter what you wear. Everything ends up soaked, including your thoughts. They drag behind your eyes like wet laundry. People are quieter now, even more than before. Voices feel risky, not because anyone will punish you, but because someone might hear what you're thinking. And the things people are thinking now aren't safe anymore. There's a group near the tree line. They're not talking, just sitting, watching each other. One of them has a bruise on his neck. Another is sharpening a stick, not in a useful way, just thoughtfully, like he's forgotten what he's doing. You move past them slowly. No eye contact, no questions. Questions attract stories, and no one wants new stories right now. They're already choking on the ones they've lived. You pass the woman with the potato. It's gone. You're not sure when. No one saw her eat it. Maybe she traded it. Maybe she buried it. Or maybe she just wanted it to disappear before she did. You settle near the river again. It hasn't changed. Same wide water, same slow current, same unbothered rhythm, like it's humming a lullaby you can't quite hear. Someone behind you clears their throat. It's a guard. He doesn't speak, just drops something on the ground. It's a sack. Another one. More flour, but this time no one rushes to it. They remember what it does, how it swells in your stomach, how it dries your mouth, how it doesn't feel like food, only filler. He walks away. No instructions, no expression, like dropping rations for ghosts, like feeding a graveyard. A man speaks up softly. Not to you, to no one, really. He says, "There's fewer of us now." No one answers, because yes, there are. He waits, then adds, "And they're not all dying naturally." You hear someone inhale sharply, then silence again. It folds over you like a wet coat. The word is there. You don't say it, but it's in the air, in the way people look at each other, in the way people sleep with one eye open, in the way a body disappears without a sound and no one asks where it went. Cannibal. The first time you heard it, it felt impossible. Now, it just feels inevitable, like mold on damp bread, like frost in your boots, like regret, always there, always growing. You lie down in the grass, or what passes for it, more mud than plant, but softer than memory. You rest your hand on your chest just to feel something still working. Your heart sounds distant now, tired, but obedient. A woman nearby is muttering something about her brother. She says he went to find a boat. No one tells her there are no boats. No one tells her anything. Because stories need fuel, and there's not enough of that anymore. You look at your hands. They're not yours anymore. Not really. They belong to the island now. Blistered, thin, indifferent. You once held things with them. Pencils, bread, someone else's hand. Now they just exist, like tree branches or bones. You close your eyes, not to sleep, but to rehearse the end. Quietly, politely, as if asking permission. Even now, you try not to be a burden. And while you breathe, if this story has found a place in you, somewhere soft, somewhere still awake, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if it feels honest. Tell me where you're listening from and what time it is. It helps sometimes to know that someone, somewhere, still hears. Back on the island, someone is laughing. It's quiet, strained, the kind of laugh that sounds like it forgot the joke. It cuts through the fog like a wire, then vanishes, like everything else. You turn your face toward the sky, gray again. It's always gray, like it's mourning you in advance, like it already knows how this ends. You wonder what your name sounds like now, if it still fits in someone's mouth, if anyone is looking for you, if anyone would recognize what's left. You hope not. You hope no one ever sees you like this. Tomorrow will come, probably, but you're not sure if you'll still be here to greet it, or if someone else will wake up in your place, wearing your coat, carrying your silence, and wondering why no one says the word out loud. Cannibal. It's not a headline. It's a hunger. And it's already here, crawling into people's eyes and rearranging what they're willing to do.
You wake up colder today. Not because the weather changed, but because your body has stopped pretending. It's done negotiating with the chill. Now it just allows it. Like a guest who's overstayed their welcome, but still gets the warmest chair. You sit up slowly. You're getting good at that. The slow part. You've started to realize that every sudden movement spends something. A calorie, a thought, a piece of yourself you won't get back. The sky is low this morning. Your press is down. Not like rain is coming, just pressure. The kind that makes you feel smaller, like the air has opinions. You look around. People have moved during the night. Some closer together, some farther apart. Spacing means something now. It tells you who's still clinging to hope and who's preparing for decisions. Someone coughs, the dry, rattling kind, like their lungs are made of paper bags. You don't turn toward the sound, because sometimes you feel it might be catching, not the illness, the despair. You wander toward the trees, not out of curiosity. There's nothing new to find. But being near the trees feels safer, like they might remember how to protect something, anything, even you. There's a man carving notches into a branch. He doesn't look up, just keeps scratching the same mark into the same spot, over and over. He might be counting days, or names, or mistakes, or maybe he just wants to hear a sound that isn't breathing. You sit across from him, not too close. He doesn't speak, you don't either. But there's something comforting about having someone next to your silence. It feels less echoey. A figure walks by, fast, or what counts as fast now. They're holding something, wrapped in cloth, too small to be a body, too heavy to be nothing. You don't ask, because if you don't ask, you don't know. And if you don't know, you don't have to remember. That's how it works now. The math of survival. What you don't eat, you carry. What you carry, you weigh. What you weigh, you lose. Little by little. And if you lose too much, you stop waking up altogether. Someone nearby mutters a prayer. It's not in Russian. Or maybe it is. It's hard to tell anymore. Everything sounds foreign when spoken with a dry mouth. You don't believe. Not really. But you listen anyway, because sometimes faith sounds like food. The guards are arguing today. Not loud, but loud enough. They're pointing at a map, or a list, or maybe nothing at all. Hard to say from this distance. But one of them throws his cigarette to the ground like it offended him, which feels relatable. At least the cigarette had options. Back near the center of the camp, you see a man carrying a bundle of sticks, not for warmth. There's no fire. No one wastes energy on that anymore. The sticks are for protection. From what? You know what, but saying it makes it real, and real things are harder to ignore. Last night someone screamed. Just once. Sharp. Then, silence. This morning, there's a coat lying near the mud pit. Still warm, still shaped like someone had just left it. But no one asks, and no one moves it. Because coats are dangerous now. They raise questions, and questions take energy. You sit again, same place, same position. It's routine now, ritual, the only rhythm left. You stretch your legs, feel the skin tighten. It hurts, but the kind of hurt that reassures you, because it means something is still working, sort of. And while you wait for nothing in particular, if the story is sitting quietly inside you, pressing gently against some part of you that still feels, take a moment to like the video and subscribe only if you want to stay here with me, in this remembering, this unfolding, this quiet place between history and sleep. And in the comments, let me know where you're listening from and what time it is, because strange as it sounds, it helps to know where ghosts go. Someone is singing now. Not really, just humming. The kind of tune that doesn't belong to any song, just memory. It rises and falls, like breath, like the wind might carry it somewhere better, somewhere warm. You close your eyes, let the sound float across the mud. It's the only music here. No strings, no notes, just survival, wearing a melody. You think of your name, just once. You don't say it out loud, because names feel too sharp now, too personal, too human. And this place isn't interested in humanity. Only hunger, only numbers, only silence. You lie back, let your spine meet the earth again, the same way it always does, with no resistance, no hesitation, like the ground is just waiting for you to stop getting up. The wind shifts. It carries a smell you don't recognize, but your body does, and it turns your stomach, because even though no one says the word, it's in the air now, settling into the soil, slipping under the skin, changing everything. Tomorrow, you may not speak, you may not rise, you may not know who disappeared or who's next, but tonight, you remember one thing. What people do when food runs out is never theoretical. It's just a matter of time.
You don't wake up this time. Not really. You just surface. Like something drifting in a cold river. No urgency. No destination. Just up. Just barely. Your breath is shallow. Not out of fear, that left a while ago, but because your body has learned to whisper. Even your lungs are trying to save energy. You sit up slower than usual. If anyone's watching, they might think you're tired, which is funny, because tired was 3 weeks ago. This is what comes after. The island looks the same. It always does. Like it's too bored to change. Same damp air, same pale sky, same broken trees, leaning like they've heard too many bad stories. And they have. You rub your hands together, not for warmth, just to feel something move. The skin cracks a little, not bleeding, not enough blood left to spare, just dry, thin, quietly falling apart. Someone walks by. You recognize their face, sort of. You've seen it before,
but you don't remember where. That happens more often now. You know the shapes of people, but not their names, not their reasons, not what they were before all this. And maybe that's safer, because when you don't remember who they were, you don't have to feel anything when they don't come back. You try to stand carefully. Your knees disagree, but you win the argument for now. Balance is a skill now. So is pretending you don't feel lightheaded. So is pretending you're not counting other people's coats. You move toward the tree line, not because there's food there. That myth died early. But because trees mean space, and space means privacy, and privacy, well, that's where people do the things they don't want others to see. You pass a man digging, not a grave, not really, just a shallow pit for something or someone. He doesn't look up, and you don't ask, because asking means watching, and watching means knowing, and knowing is too much. The word comes again. Cannibal. You don't say it, but your mind does, softly, like a lullaby that lost its tune. There are stories now about meat found with no animal nearby, about a stew that didn't smell like bark, about someone missing and someone else eating more than usual. No one confirms it. No one denies it. Because here, you don't accuse. You don't confront. You just look away, if you're lucky. And if you're not, you're looked at. Too long. Too carefully. You find a patch of ground that hasn't been stepped on yet. You sit. Stretch your legs. Close your eyes. Not to sleep, just to be inside for a while. Inside yourself. Inside the last place they can't reach. Not yet. And while you're resting, if this story has stayed with you, even as a quiet ache, take a moment to like the video and subscribe if it feels honest. No pressure, just presence. And tell me, in the comments, where you are, what time it is, because even now, even here, it helps to know that someone's still out there. A girl walks by, young, maybe 16, hard to tell. She's carrying a small bundle, fabric tied around something. Could be food, could be shoes, could be nothing. She walks like it doesn't matter anymore. You remember being 16, vaguely. There was a bakery, maybe, or a school, a river, something with music. The memories are thin now, like paper left out in the rain. You try to touch one, but it tears in your hand. You wonder how long it takes to forget your own voice.
You haven't spoken today. Maybe not yesterday either. No one tracks time anymore. No one asks the date, because there's no future being built, only the present being dismantled, quietly, efficiently, like a house with no roof. The guards look tired too. Even they've stopped pretending. They shuffle now, like ghosts with armbands. Their rifles aren't even raised, because what would you do, really? Stage a rebellion with twigs and flour paste? No, even desperation knows its limits. You lie down again, not because you're sleepy, but because your body makes the decision for you. There's a buzzing in your ears, like wind, or memory, or absence. It doesn't hurt, it just replaces things, like thoughts, like names, like meals. You think of someone's face. You don't know whose. It might be your mother, or someone you watched die, or someone you will. The island makes everything blurry. It doesn't erase you all at once, just gently, layer by layer, softly, like fog. You're not even hungry anymore. And that is the part that scares you. Because hunger was a signal. It meant you still wanted to live. Now, you're just waiting. Not even for death. Just for something to stop needing effort. Even blinking. You close your eyes again. Breathe in, slowly, as if the air might be rationed too. You hear someone cry. A child, maybe, or someone much older who just sounds small. You don't move. You can't afford to. The crying will stop. Everything does. Eventually. The sky above you, unchanged, still gray, still low, still looking down like it's not sure what you've done to deserve this. You wonder the same, but there's no one left to answer. And if there were, you're not sure you'd believe them anymore.
You open your eyes, but only halfway. There's no rush, nothing urgent, no sound calling you up from sleep, just the same dull light hanging in the air like it forgot how to change. Your back aches, a soft, constant complaint. It blends with everything else now, like the mud, like the hunger, like the cold, all part of the background, always present, never loud. You sit up slowly. No birds today, no voices. Even the wind has stopped trying. It drifts lazily through the trees like it's lost interest in carrying news. The ground is softer today, too soft. Someone was digging again, probably in the dark, probably alone, probably for the same reason they all dig, to hide something, or to find something worse, or to pretend those are different things. You look around, fewer people again, the kind of fewer no one talks about, not like a head count, more like a feeling, an absence that hums quietly in your gut.
like an empty chair at a table long after the food is run out. You stand, you wobble. The body complains but obeys, for now. You lean against a tree. It doesn't lean back. Nothing here offers support, just observation. You notice a coat lying near the river, torn, wet, too small for a man, too large for a child. No body nearby, just the coat, and the suggestion that someone used to be inside it. Used to be. The guards are pacing, slow, shuffling, their boots heavy with secrets. You can tell they're arguing, but their mouths stay mostly shut because even power is afraid of this place now, and silence travels faster than orders. You see two women huddled together. They're whispering, or maybe praying? Hard to tell. Words here fall apart quickly. Mouths dry, tongues slow. Language has to compete with fear now, and fear is fluent. You find a spot near a half-dead tree. Familiar. Safe by island standards. You sit. Cross your legs. Rest your head on your arm. Let your thoughts scatter. They're not useful anymore. They just wander, like dogs with no home. You hear something strange, chewing, soft, repetitive. It's not alarming, just unfamiliar. And now everything unfamiliar feels suspicious, because on this island, comfort kills slower than people do. You don't look. Not right away. Looking means accepting. Accepting means thinking. And thinking takes energy, which is better spent doing nothing. Someone walks past you. Their face is blank. Their hands are red, not from blood, not obviously. Could be berries, could be frost, could be both, but you know what it probably isn't. You don't judge, not because you're kind, but because you understand now. There's a difference. Kindness assumes choice. Here, choice left with the last boat, and no one remembers what kindness tastes like. You close your eyes again, just for a moment. Let the cold settle in again. Let the world shrink. It's easier when it gets smaller, when the whole island fits inside the space between your thoughts. And while you're here, if this story has been something steady in your quiet night, take a moment to like the video and subscribe if you'd like to keep walking through forgotten places with me. Slowly, quietly, without judgment. And let me know in the comments where you are and what time it is, because somehow this silence feels smaller when it's shared. You hear a man laughing nearby. Not loudly, just a little. It sounds wrong, not because laughter is rare, but because it doesn't reach his eyes. It just sits in his throat, like something he couldn't swallow, or maybe something he already did. You shift your body. Bones pop, joints resist. Your skin feels too big, like your body is trying to leave itself, and you're not sure it wants to stay. Not anymore. You once had a family, you think. Maybe a sister, someone who braided her hair, someone who laughed with her mouth wide open. That laugh is gone now. Even the memory has teeth marks on it, bitten clean through. You stopped counting days, or weeks, or people. Counting started to feel like hope, and hope is a dangerous habit here. It keeps you reaching for things that stopped reaching back. You don't know what month it is. You don't care. Seasons mean nothing now. This place has only one season. It's called later. As in, maybe I'll eat later. Maybe I'll move later. Maybe I'll be next. Later. You rest your head against the tree. It's cold, rough, real. More real than anything else left. You try to remember a dream, just one. But dreams don't survive long out here. They rot faster than flesh. Someone coughs again. The same dry sound. You used to flinch at it. Now it's just background noise, part of the music of the island, along with footsteps, stomach growls, shovels, and silence. You drift again, not asleep, just somewhere softer, somewhere where names still exist, and people don't disappear, and flower isn't a death sentence.
You wake up to nothing. No noise, no movement. Just the sound of your own breathing. Dry, shallow, almost apologetic, as if your lungs are trying not to disturb the silence. The ground is cold. You don't feel it. Not really. Your body gave up on sensation a while ago. Now it just reports dull impressions, pressure, weight, absence, not pain. That was 2 layers ago. You don't sit up right away. You stare at the grayness above. Same sky, same smudged clouds, like someone painted over the sun and forgot to clean the brush. Someone walks nearby, slow, barefoot. Their feet don't make much noise anymore. Not because they're quiet, but because the mud has started to expect them. It doesn't resist. It just swallows. You finally sit up, not out of will, out of habit. A ritual in a place that has no rituals left. A gesture of pretending you're still trying, still waiting, still human. You don't feel hungry today. That should worry you, but it doesn't. It's like the body finally accepted the contract. If you're not going to feed me, then I'm not going to bother asking. Someone near the water is stirring something in a tin. It smells burnt. Bark, maybe. Or cloth. Or worse. You turn away gently. Not out of disgust. Out of empathy. Because you understand now. You understand what it means to choose between guilt and survival, and pick neither. Just go numb. A woman coughs behind you. She used to sing. Softly. You remember the tune. It had no words, just hums. Now she just breathes through cracked lips, one note at a time, each one further apart. You stare at your hands, still there, still cracked, still holding nothing. They look like the hands of a worker, or a gravedigger, or something between both. They don't remember what they used to hold. Bread? A book? a child. None of it feels real now, like dreams you borrowed from someone else. You shuffle toward the trees, fewer now. Some were cut, some fell, some just gave up standing. You relate to that last part. You sit under one, let its shadow fall across your face. There's no warmth, but the shade still feels like protection. From what? Even you don't know anymore. Sun? Judgment? Your own thoughts? Hard to say. Words don't mean what they used to. Even safety feels like sarcastic. You notice someone carving again. Another stick. Another pattern. Everyone carves now. Not for art. Not for memory. Just to give the hands something to do besides tremble, or reach, or take. You lie back again. The ground accepts you without a word. It's the only thing that's never argued. You wonder if, by now, it's memorized your shape. Maybe it knows where your spine goes, where your ribs press down. Maybe it's waiting. Patient. Polite. Like the end of a song that lets the silence finish the melody. And while you lie there, if this story has made you quieter inside, take a moment to like the video and subscribe if you want to keep listening, or remembering, or just not feeling alone. Let me know where you are and what time it is, because something about this feels better when it's shared. You hear rustling near your left side. Someone digging again. Soft, careful movements. You don't turn. Not out of fear. Out of respect. This is a private act. Desperate, yes, but private. No one interferes anymore. Someone calls a name. Once. No one answers. They say it again. Then stop, because even names don't echo anymore. They just vanish, midair, like smoke from a match that never lit. You taste something strange. Not food. Memory. A flicker of something sweet. Fruit? Tea? A table? You hold it in your mouth, not to savor, but to remember. It dissolves quickly. Even your tongue has started forgetting. You rub your shoulder. Feel the bone under skin. You've become an outline. An idea. A sketch of a person who used to fill in the rest. Now there's no pencil left. Just smudges, and rain, and time. You try to count how many are left. You can't. Too many missing. Too many changed. Too many looking at you like you might be food, or furniture, or no one. You sigh, and even that feels expensive, like you're spending breath you should have saved, but it's worth it, because some part of you still wants to mark the moment, still wants to say, I was here, even if no one's listening, even if you're not sure you still believe it. And then, quiet again, as always, as expected, as forever. You close your eyes, not because you're tired, because your thoughts are. They've done all they can. Now it's up to nothing. And nothing is very good at this.
You wake up, but you're not sure how you know that. There's no sound, no movement, no feeling of having slept, just an awareness. Like your body drifted back into itself because it forgot where else to go. You sit up, not all the way, just enough to look like you still belong here, though the truth is, you're starting not to. Not really. Not physically. not even emotionally. Your legs are thinner today. You can tell by the way your knees knock against each other. Your breath rattles differently, like it's passing through someone else's chest, a stranger's lungs, worn in, secondhand. There's frost on the edge of the blanket, not yours. You don't have a blanket. You don't remember when you stopped caring about that. You just remember being colder than the people who still do. A woman across the mud field is crying, but softly, like she's trying not to bother anyone, or like she doesn't want her body to notice she still has tears left. You understand that. Tears remind you you're still here, and sometimes that's the worst part. You shift onto your side, not for comfort. There is no comfort, just different angles of ache. But turning gives you a new view, new shapes, new reminders, new people, or what's left of them. A man is standing by the river. He's not moving, just staring at the water. Not like he wants to cross it. That idea left weeks ago. He's watching it like it might speak, or confess, or give something back. You understand that feeling too, because when everything has been taken from you, you start looking for justice in things that don't care. Water, wind, time, and none of them has ever apologized. You try to stand. The effort costs you, but you manage. Balance isn't strength anymore. It's memory. Your body remembers upright, even when your soul doesn't. You take a few steps, enough to convince yourself you still can. Someone passes you too fast, carrying something, wrapped tight, a coat maybe, or something inside it. You don't ask. You don't even flinch. You've trained your eyes to mind their business. You sit again, by the stump, the one that used to be a tree. Now it's just a reminder that even strong things can be broken down one layer at a time. You feel a strange kinship with it. You're both wood now. You both wait for someone to decide you're useful again. A pair of men are talking nearby, quietly, but with tension. You can't hear the words, just the tone. Sharp, flat, resigned. And then it ends. One walks away, the other stays. You wonder which of them lost, or maybe they both did. You pick up a twig, start tracing lines in the mud, not drawing, just moving your hand, reminding yourself you can still leave a mark, even if it disappears when the next rain comes, especially then. You close your eyes, not to rest, but to hide. Even from inside your own head, the images are quieter there, the hunger less demanding, the decisions less sharp. And while you breathe, if this story is still with you, somewhere between your ribs, take a moment to like the video. And subscribe if you want to keep returning to the places history doesn't. Tell me, where are you? What time is it for you? Because in this silence, it helps to know who's still listening. You open your eyes again. Something's missing. It takes you a moment to name it. Then you realize there's no smell today. No burning bark, no mold, no flower, no rot. Just nothing. As if even the air has given up participating. You look at your shadow. It's thin, flickering in the gray light. You try to remember what your face looks like, but all you see is a version of yourself from before the train, before the boat, before the silence. That version isn't here anymore. You're the shadow now. Someone nearby offers you something, a piece of something dark, small, solid. You don't ask what it is. You don't take it. Not because you're afraid, but because you're not. And that is worse. You pull your coat tighter. It doesn't help. You do it anyway. Because motion is something. Because small gestures still pretend they matter. And sometimes, pretending is all that's left. You watch a bird land on a branch. A small thing. Quick. Unbothered. It pecks once, then flies off. It doesn't know you're here. It doesn't care. And somehow, you envy that. That freedom. That forgetfulness. That distance from meaning. You wonder how much more you can lose. You've lost food, warmth, language, your name, other people, the idea of a future. But somehow, something is still here. A flicker, a thread. Maybe that's what survival is. Just not being finished yet. You lie back again, and the dirt greets you like an old friend. Unchanged, unbothered, unmoved by what you've become. And maybe that's enough. For now. Just to lie here and know you're still one breath short of disappearing.
You don't feel cold this morning. That should scare you. But it doesn't. Nothing really does anymore. Not because you're brave, because fear requires energy. And energy is a currency you stopped spending days ago. You wake slowly, not like rising, more like floating up from a long silence, as if your body took a vote and barely decided to keep going. The sky is the same. Of course it is. Always gray. Always watching. Like it's waiting for the story to end so it can look away again. You sit up, or try to. It takes 2 attempts. Your arms don't help much anymore. They bend, but with hesitation, like they're no longer sure who they belong to. There's a man sleeping nearby. You think he's sleeping. You hope he is. But you don't check, because at this point, what difference would it make? The living and the dead lie in the same positions, just one breath apart. You look down at your shoes. One's missing a sole. The other isn't yours. You don't know when you traded or why, just that it must have seemed necessary at the time. Now they're just symbols of something you used to care about. Someone passes you. They don't say anything. People don't say things anymore. They grunt. They nod. They vanish. Language has become a luxury. And silence, the only thing that never runs out. You feel your stomach grumble, not loudly. It's a small sound now, like a whisper that got lost on its way out. It doesn't mean hunger, not anymore. It just means you're still here, still trying, out of habit. You walk, carefully, not to get anywhere, just to remember how it feels, to shift weight, to balance, to move without collapsing. You don't go far, just around the camp, or what's left of it. A woman is boiling something in a tin. You don't ask what. You already know what. Everyone does. The smell is different now, not sour, not earthy, just final. You sit again, not under a tree. You're done asking nature for favors. You sit in the open,
exposed, because hiding takes effort, and effort implies hope. You're beyond that now. Someone nearby laughs. It's short, dry, almost a cough. They're not laughing at anything. They're just leaking noise, because the silence started asking questions. And sometimes a laugh is the only answer you can afford. You close your eyes, just briefly, to give the world a break from seeing you, and maybe to give yourself a break from being seen. It's a small kindness, almost a luxury, like dreams, like names. And if you're still here, with me, in this quiet place, take a moment to like the video and subscribe if you'd like to walk further into the stories history forgot. Leave a comment, tell me where you're listening from and what time it is, because voices matter even when they whisper, even when they come from the edge of remembering. You open your eyes again. You're still here, which is both a victory and a disappointment. You've stopped rooting for either. Now, you just take attendance. Alive. For now. Noted. You hear someone arguing. Two men. Not loudly. Even their anger sounds tired. You don't listen. You don't need to. The outcome is always the same. One walks away. The other forgets why he stayed. You touch your chest, feel the slow rhythm. Your heart isn't in a hurry anymore. It knows there's nowhere to go. It just keeps time for the story you forgot how to tell. You try to remember your last full sentence, a real one, not a grunt, not a murmur, not a yes or no. You can't. Your mouth knows how to chew and breathe, but speak? That's someone else's skill now. Someone who had more to say. Someone who had someone to say it to. You look at the trees again. Some are bare. Some still hold on to their leaves. Brave. Stupid. Hopeful. You can't decide which. Maybe all three. Maybe none. Maybe they don't know what's coming. Lucky them. You lie back one more time. The dirt is softer than usual. Maybe it rained. Maybe someone else was here. Maybe this is where you stay now. You don't care. You don't mind. There's nothing left to reach for. Nothing left to fear. You're not afraid of dying. Not anymore. It doesn't come with fire or fury. Just quiet. Like sleep. Without the promise of waking up. And maybe that's mercy. Maybe that's what kindness looks like when the world forgets you. Not angels, not light, just the right to stop, without apology, without noise. Just stop.
You don't open your eyes right away. Not because you're tired, but because your body has stopped asking for light. There's nothing out there you haven't already seen. Mud, branches, faces that no longer know how to move, and the gray sky. Always the gray sky. You lie still, and you wonder how long you've been lying there. An hour? A day? A week? The ground knows, but it doesn't speak. It just holds. Your breath is slower now. Not labored, just less interested. It moves like something that's been given too many chances and no longer expects applause. You sit up, eventually, Because even in the last chapters, habit still shows up, quietly, reliably, like frost, like rot, like time. The island looks the same. It always does. It doesn't change. It absorbs. It doesn't forgive. It forgets. And slowly, you've started to do the same. There are fewer people now. So few that it almost feels peaceful. Almost. You see their shapes in the distance. Some walking, some still, some uncertain. And in that stillness, you recognize yourself. Not your reflection, just the version of you that no longer needs a name. Someone passes you. You don't look. They don't stop. There's no need for acknowledgement. You've both passed the point where people mean something. Now you're just figures on a landscape that's learning to live without stories. You try to remember a sound. Any sound. A song, a voice, a laugh. But nothing comes. Even memory is tired. And like everything else, it's starting to decay. You feel a breeze, gentle, almost kind. It brushes your cheek like something checking if you're still here. And for a moment, you want to thank it. Not with words, just with silence that feels like gratitude. You lie back again. Same place, same impression in the dirt. It fits you now, perfectly, like you were always meant to end here, like this shape was always yours. You close your eyes, let the dark in, let the weight go. You're not thinking of escape. You're not thinking of survival. You're just not thinking. And it feels like peace. And while your breath still moves, if you're still here, listening, wandering, becoming quiet, take a moment to like the video and subscribe if you want to walk further into what history forgot to remember. Tell me where you are. Tell me what time it is, because somewhere, someone might still be listening for echoes. You hear a bird, one note, then nothing. You wait, but it doesn't return. Even nature keeps its visits brief here. You feel your fingers twitch. They're remembering something. A spoon? A pencil? A hand? You let them twitch. It's the closest they've come to dancing in days, maybe weeks, maybe longer. But it doesn't matter now. Nothing needs measuring anymore. You open your eyes once more. Just a sliver, enough to see the light, enough to know the day still exists, but not for you. You're finished with days. Now you belong to the space between them. You stretch your arm across the ground. Feel the texture. Cool, damp, familiar. And for the first time, it doesn't feel foreign. It feels like you. The island has taken you in, not with violence, with patience, with silence, with time. You stop counting. Not just people, not just moments. You stop counting yourself. You're not one anymore. You're just part of the trees, of the water, of the sky, and yes, of the story that no one wanted to tell. You are the dirt now. You are the breath in the pine needles, the shadow beneath the fallen logs, the echo of a footstep no one heard. You are the island, the forgotten, the unsaid, and still you remain.
You wake up, but it doesn't feel like waking. It feels like surfacing from a deep, slow dream that forgot to end. There's no sound, no hunger, no ache. Just the sense that you've crossed a line you didn't know was there. You sit up, easily this time. The stiffness is gone, or maybe you've stopped noticing. You look at your hands, still there, but softer, lighter, less yours, more earth. The sky is clear today, or maybe your eyes are. You see blue for the first time in longer than you can remember. And it's not beautiful, it's not sad, it just is. A ceiling for a story that no one wrote down. You don't feel alone now, not anymore, because you're not. You've become part of something larger than a name, larger than history. You're part of the hush between trees, the breath between years, the silence between pages that were never read. No one says your name now, and that's okay. It was never meant to last. You said it in your own mind so many times it wore thin. Now it's folded away with the others, with the forgotten, with the real. You walk through the camp, or what's left of it. Footprints fade, shelters sink, memories blur. No one mourns here. There's no need. The loss already happened. This is just the echo, and even echoes forget. You sit by the river, the same one, still moving, still whispering. You thought you'd cross it once, long ago. But now, you don't need to. You're already where you were going. You just didn't know it at the time. The island is quiet, not empty, just content. It has taken what it was given, and in return, it offers peace. Not comfort, not joy, just peace. The kind that doesn't ask anything of you, not even breath. You close your eyes, not to rest, to join. Fully, finally, completely. And as the last thought flickers, you don't mourn, you don't resist, you just release. And if you've been with me this far, if you've carried this story quietly inside yourself, take a moment to like the video. Subscribe if you want more silence turned into story, more history, softly remembered. And let me know in the comments where you are, what time it is. Just once more, for the record, for the echo. Because this is the end. Not the dramatic kind, not the kind with music or fire or last words, just the end as it really happens. Soft, without audience, without punctuation, just stillness. You are no longer cold, no longer hungry, no longer waiting, no longer asking what will happen next. You are not missing. You are not lost. You are not a victim. You are not a survivor. You are a part, a layer, a thread in the soil, a shape in the sky. You are the story that lives between facts and the truth that never needed telling. The island breathes, and so do you. Together, quietly, endlessly, as if you were always meant to be remembered only like this. Good night, and goodbye. You made it all the way to silence.
You wake up, but not in a bed, not in a body, not even in time. You wake up in dirt, or maybe under it,
It's hard to tell now. Your breath doesn't fog anymore. Your chest doesn't rise, but still, you feel. And that's enough. For now. The island is quiet. It always was. But now, you can hear it better. Not with ears, with everything else. The trees creak like old bones. The water murmurs. The wind doesn't whistle. It whispers. It says things people aren't supposed to hear. You hear them all. You were someone once. A man, a woman. A name scratched into something soft. You remember flower, rain, the slow way hunger talks to your bones, and how silence becomes the only voice left. But those are shadows now. Faint, distant. You don't cling to them. They pass through you like mist. Unwelcome, but familiar. There's movement. Far across the river. A boat. You can feel it before you see it. The weight of new feet. The breath of people who haven't learned what this place is yet. They think it's just mud. Just trees. Just another assignment. But you know better. You always did. The boat creaks. You don't hear it. You remember the sound. Boards swelling with water. Boots shuffling. Someone coughing through a scarf. You remember what it felt like to step onto this island and believe you'd leave again. That belief was the first thing the island took. They arrive. Not many. A team. Maybe researchers. Maybe soldiers. Maybe just cleaners of history. You don't care. Names don't stick here. The island peels them off, one syllable at a time. You drift. You don't walk. You don't need to. You move with the moss, with the wind, through the trees that once saw you collapse and didn't blink. You watch them now the same way they watched you. Still, impartial, waiting. The new people carry tools, metal things, glossy things. They poke the ground like it might tell them something. It won't. You tried. You all tried. But truth doesn't grow here. Only roots. Only bones. Only silence. One of them kneels, where your body once lay. They don't know it. They look at the soil. They don't feel the cold that never left it. You try to remember their face, but it's already slipping. The island is quick like that. It erases in real time, faster than memory, faster than mercy. You drift past them. You don't want revenge. You don't want help. You just want to watch, to witness, because no one did that for you. No one remembered, until now. A young man opens a journal. He writes something. You don't read the words, but you feel them. They pulse through the ground like a heartbeat that doesn't know it's stopped. Maybe he's writing about the dead, or the cold, or the teeth marks they never explained. You want to tell him he won't find answers, only echoes. And even those are fading.
You move again, float past the pit, the one where too many names collapsed into each other. It's still there, sunken, soft. The wind skims across it, like it's ashamed. You're not. Not anymore. Shame was buried too. You remember where. The visitors don't stay long. They never do. Something in the air makes them nervous. They feel the presence. Not you, exactly, but the memory of what happened here. It clings. It whispers. It waits for someone to admit it out loud. No one ever does. Not fully. One of them lingers. Alone. Older. Quiet. You recognize him. Or you think you do. Maybe he was here before. Or maybe he's just carrying the same kind of grief you used to wear. It fits him well. He touches the bark of a tree that once held a name. Carved. Long gone. The bark healed. The name didn't. But something about it stirs him. His shoulders drop. His breath shakes. You can't tell if he's remembering or imagining. Maybe it's the same thing. Here, it is. You surround him. Gently. Like fog. Like regret. Like the warmth of something that never was warm to begin with. He speaks. Softly. You don't understand the words, but you feel the apology, and that's enough. You forgive him, even if he wasn't asking. He leaves. They all do. Eventually, the island exhales. You feel it in the trees, in the earth, in the shallow breath of the place that never wanted to be known. You stay. Of course you do. Where else would you go? You're not a ghost. You're not a soul. You're not a story. You're the space between all three, and that space is full, with memory, with silence, with you. And as they fade from sight, if you're still listening, still resting here in this long memory, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. The river moves again, the trees settle, the dirt reshapes itself, and you remain, not trapped, not punished, just present, the last thing the island kept, because someone had to remember.
They leave, as they always do. The men with notebooks, the boots with names, the careful hands pretending to study what they can never hold. You feel them go, not with footsteps, but with silence. The kind that returns when visitors cross the water and decide never to look back. The boat fades. You don't watch it. You just sense the absence. A pressure lifted. A ripple sealed. Like a held breath. Finally exhaled. And then the island is yours again. All of it. Every root. Every shadow. Every pile of soil that was never a grave but always became one.
You drift. Not forward, not toward anything, just gently outward, through the air, through the places you remember, even when you wish you didn't. You pass a tree that once held rope. It doesn't anymore. The bark healed, but you still feel the weight of it, still hear the creak, not of wind, not of limbs, of decisions, of despair. You move through the bones, scattered, hidden, forgotten. Some people think they were all collected, cleaned up, filed into neat conclusions, but you know better. You always did. They didn't take all of you. They couldn't. Some pieces held on. Some became the trees, the fog, you. Time passes differently now. It doesn't tick. It hums, long and low, like breath between thoughts. Like the sound a story makes after the last word is spoken, but before anyone stands. You remember a name, briefly. It floats up like steam from a bowl of broth that never existed. You whisper it, not aloud. You don't have lips anymore, but you feel it leave you, and then it's gone again. Even inside memory, names dissolve. The wind changes. You notice it now, the way a tree does, not by sound, but by pressure, by shift, by something unseen deciding it wants to move through you. A bird lands nearby. You don't remember birds from before. Maybe there were some, maybe not. But this one doesn't care. It pecks at the dirt right where someone used to sleep, and then it leaves, unaffected, untouched, alive. You wonder what the island will do when no one remembers. Not you, not the others, not the ones who cried, or boiled bark, or chewed fabric just to keep their jaws moving. You are not sad. You are not lonely. You are not waiting. You are witness. The last honest shape in a dishonest place. You are the breath no one wanted to take. You are the stillness that couldn't be buried. You are memory, without need. You find the pit again, the big one. You never knew how many. No one did. Counting was a luxury they took from you early. But now, you don't need numbers. You feel weight instead. And this spot weighs more than the rest. You drift above it, not hovering, just being. Your presence makes no sound. You don't disturb the moss. You don't bend the air. You are barely anything. And yet, you are here. And while you linger, if you're still here with me, still breathing quietly through this place, take a moment to like the video. Subscribe if you want to stay with this story a little longer. Tell me where you're listening from. Tell me the hour. Sometimes that's all a memory needs to stay alive. Night falls. Slow. No drama. Just the fading of light. Like someone closing their eyes and deciding not to open them again. You remember what night used to mean. Fear, cold, whispers, the sounds of people trying to make the dark smaller. Now, night is quiet. It holds no threat, just echo, just rest, just nothing. The kind you can trust. You settle near a tree, not under it, next to it, the way you used to, when you still had shape, when you still folded your body against bark and wind. Now, you fold only memory, and memory folds you back. You hear something, faint. A voice? No. Just the island speaking to itself again. It does that now, because you taught it how. Because someone had to listen before it learned to speak. You rest, not to recover, but to remain. That's all you do now. Not exist, not haunt.
You wake up again, though waking feels wrong now. There was no sleep, just pause. A long, still pause that stretched through night without needing a body to rest in. The sky is lighter, but not brighter, just thinner, like someone scraped away a layer and left the pale part underneath. It reminds you of skin before the bruising. You drift, slowly, not with intention. There's nowhere to go. But still, you move. Because memory needs motion. And motion, even now, feels like a kind of breath. The trees sway. You feel it. Not the wind itself, but the way it changes direction. Like hesitation. Like the island's lungs trying to decide if they want to keep breathing. You pass the place where the woman used to sit. She had a potato, once. Held it for days. Didn't eat it. Didn't speak. You used to remember her name. You were sure of it. But now, nothing comes. Only the weight of it, like a shadow, without shape. You drift further. There are spots where memory still clings. Footprints that filled with water. Marks in bark. Bones that were never found. And still, you feel yourself thinning. Not dying, just letting go. Little by little. You try to recall the smell of the fire that never lasted. The flour that turned to paste. The coats that didn't fit. But the details are smudging now. Edges blurred. Names gone. As if your own mind has started tidying up. You pause, near the river. It's louder today. Maybe it rained. Maybe the island wants to drown something. Maybe it's speaking. But if it is, you can't translate it anymore. The language of grief doesn't wait for interpreters. It just moves downstream. You float lower, toward the ground, the place you once curled into. You try to remember the shape of your knees, how it felt to pull them to your chest, to pretend that posture could protect you, but your body's gone. And now even the memory has grown soft, rounded, empty. A voice echoes. Not from someone living. Not from you. It's the island. It speaks in rhythm. Tree creaks, soil shifts. Something drops in the underbrush. And all of it feels like a story you almost knew. You think you see something. A child? No. A flicker. Just a ripple in the air where someone once was. Your memory fills in the rest until it can't. And then it lets go. You're not sad. You're not afraid. You're just curious. What happens when even memory forgets you? What happens when the witness is no longer sure what it was watching? And if you're still here, if you're still listening in the quiet with me, take a moment to like the video. Subscribe if you want to keep remembering what isn't supposed to be remembered. Tell me where you are. Tell me the time. Because names fade, but places sometimes don't. You drift again. Not because there's something to see, just because stillness feels too permanent. You move, like a thought about to be forgotten. The island breathes. You feel it, not as sound, but as shift, like the ground beneath memory is beginning to settle, to close the book, to smooth the pages, to say, that was enough. You wonder if you were ever real, or just a ghost stitched together from someone else's guilt. A whisper that stayed too long after the voices left. A presence made of ash and guesses. But then, you feel something. A ripple in the moss, a brush of air, and suddenly, you remember a name. Not yours. Someone else's. Just a single syllable. It arrives, then slips away. Like fog. Like forgiveness. Like you. You wake up again, though waking feels wrong now. There was no sleep, just pause. A long, still pause that stretched through night without needing a body to rest in. The sky is lighter, but not brighter, just thinner, like someone scraped away a layer and left the pale part underneath. It reminds you of skin before the bruising. You drift, slowly, not with intention. There's nowhere to go. But still, you move. Because memory needs motion. And motion, even now, feels like a kind of breath. The trees sway. You feel it. Not the wind itself, but the way it changes direction. Like hesitation. Like the island's lungs trying to decide if they want to keep breathing. You pass the place where the woman used to sit. She had a potato, once. Held it for days. Didn't eat it. Didn't speak. You used to remember her name. You were sure of it. But now, nothing comes. Only the weight of it, like a shadow, without shape. You drift further. There are spots where memory still clings. Footprints that filled with water. Marks in bark. Bones that were never found. And still, you feel yourself thinning. Not dying, just letting go. Little by little. You try to recall the smell of the fire that never lasted, The flour that turned to paste. The coats that didn't fit. But the details are smudging now. Edges blurred. Names gone. As if your own mind has started tidying up. You pause, near the river. It's louder today. Maybe it rained. Maybe the island wants to drown something. Maybe it's speaking. But if it is, you can't translate it anymore. The language of grief doesn't wait for interpreters. It just moves downstream. You float lower, toward the ground, the place you once curled into. You try to remember the shape of your knees, how it felt to pull them to your chest, to pretend that posture could protect you, but your body's gone. And now even the memory has grown soft, rounded, empty. A voice echoes, not from someone living, not from you. It's the island. It speaks in rhythm. Tree creaks, soil shifts. Something drops in the underbrush. And all of it feels like a story you almost knew. You think you see something. A child? No. A flicker. Just a ripple in the air where someone once was. Your memory fills in the rest until it can't. And then it lets go. You're not sad. You're not afraid. You're just curious. What happens when even memory forgets you? What happens when the witness is no longer sure what it was watching? And if you're still here, if you're still listening in the quiet with me, take a moment to like the video. Subscribe if you want to keep remembering what isn't supposed to be remembered. Tell me where you are. Tell me the time. Because names fade, but places sometimes don't. You drift again. Not because there's something to see, just because stillness feels too permanent. You move, like a thought about to be forgotten. The island breathes. You feel it, not as sound, but as shift, like the ground beneath memory is beginning to settle, to close the book, to smooth the pages, to say, that was enough. You wonder if you were ever real, or just a ghost stitched together from someone else's guilt. A whisper that stayed too long after the voices left. A presence made of ash and guesses. But then, you feel something. A ripple in the moss, a brush of air, and suddenly, you remember a name. Not yours. Someone else's. Just a single syllable. It arrives, then slips away. Like fog. Like forgiveness. Like you.
You wake again. Or maybe you never slept. It's getting hard to tell. Time has lost its rhythm. It no longer ticks. It just hums, a flat note stretched thin across the air. You rise, not upward, just inward. Your awareness swells like fog, filling the hollow places where people used to matter, where you used to matter. The island is quiet today, but not peacefully quiet, just tired, like it's forgotten what noise is for. Even the trees stand differently. Their silence feels intentional, like they're listening for something that won't arrive. You drift through a clearing,
It used to be a place where fires burned, where warmth huddled in corners. Now it's just open space, worn, sunken, indifferent. No one has touched this dirt in years, but your memory still has fingerprints all over it. You try to count the people you once remembered, the ones who sat here, the ones who spoke their last words into branches that didn't respond. But the numbers slip, names blur, faces fold in on themselves like paper left in the rain. You wonder if you're losing them, or if they finally let go of you. And if that's what peace feels like, not a reward, but an erasure, gentle, slow, complete. You follow the sound of something moving, not footsteps, more like thought, a memory reshuffling itself, trying to decide if it's still needed. You reach it and find nothing, just a tree stump, split by time, cracked like old lips, still waiting to be useful again. You sit beside it, if sitting is what you'd call this. You rest. You reduce. You stop carrying weight you no longer recognize. Even grief has lightened. Even regret has softened. The sharp edges rounded off by too many silent seasons. You remember a phrase, a simple one. Someone once whispered it to themselves right before they stopped speaking. You repeat it now, not aloud. You don't do that anymore. But inside the soft echo of who you were. And for a moment, you feel whole. Then it fades. And that's fine. Things fade here. That's the rule. And if you're still here, in this quiet with me, take a moment to like the video. Subscribe if you want to keep drifting through what the world left behind. Let me know where you are and what time it is, because here, there are no clocks, only echoes. The island sighs. You feel it in the moss, in the weight of still air. It's not sad, not angry, just weary of holding too much for too long, of being the archive no one asked to open. You wonder, what would happen if you let go, not of the island, of memory, of the role, the purpose, the responsibility to remember what no one else would? Would it vanish? Would the bones crumble faster? Would the trees forget the names carved into them with desperate fingers? Or would nothing change? Would the world simply move on, as it always has? Convenient, efficient, forgetting. You drift toward the shore. The river is low today, like it's resting or reflecting. You look across it. No boats, no voices, no search parties, no curiosity. Just the wide silver stillness of a world that no longer checks in. You lie down. The ground doesn't resist. It's familiar with your shape now. It welcomes you like old grief, warm, slow, predictable. And for the first time, you think maybe forgetting isn't surrender. Maybe it's release. Maybe it's not a failure to carry history. Maybe it's the mercy of not having to. You breathe, or the memory of breathing, and you let something go. A name, a shape, a year. It drifts upward like dust from a closing book. You don't mourn it. You just watch it rise, and feel just a little lighter. You rise again, or float, or simply continue. The difference between motion and memory has grown too small to track. You aren't waking anymore. You're just arriving, again, without beginning, without end. The air feels thin today. Not cold, just weightless. Like the island itself is fading. Not dying, just losing the need to be noticed. You pass the stump again, the one that held your shadow. It's smaller now, or maybe you're larger, or maybe neither of you was ever truly shaped to begin with. You're not sure anymore. You're not sure of anything. You try to recall a face, yours, someone else's, anyone's, but nothing arrives. No smile, no eyes, no voice. Just a vague outline. And even that wavers when you look at it too long. You pause in the field. This was where people once dug. Shovels, fingernails, knuckles, trying to bury truth or find it. Now it's just earth, soft, unbothered. And you wonder, was there ever a reason to dig at all? You feel a pull, a thimming, as if something inside you is stretching just past your reach. It used to be called memory. Now, you don't have a name for it, only a direction, a fading. You speak, or try to, but the thought doesn't land, not even inside your own silence. The words pass through you, like wind through trees that stopped blooming long ago. And that's when it happens. The question, the one you've never dared ask. Were you ever here? Truly? Did you live? Did you starve? Did you die? Or were you just made by the grief of the place? A shape, built from the hunger of forgotten bones. You drift again, slower this time, not out of fatigue. You no longer feel tired. You no longer feel. You just observe the last edges of yourself dissolve, softly, like breath on a mirror that was never yours. And if you're still here, still listening, still floating in this hush, take a moment to like the video. Subscribe if you want to stay in the spaces between memory and forgetting. Tell me where you are. Tell me what time it is. Because I'm not sure time exists here anymore. You return to the river. The water doesn't notice. Why would it? Water forgets quickly. It has more important things to do than remember shadows. You lean into it, not to touch, just to feel the closeness of something that's still moving, something that's still real, or pretending to be. The trees say nothing. They've grown comfortable with their role, witnesses without opinion. You envy them. They never needed a story. They just stood. They still do. You reach the place where your name used to live. There was a carving here once, you think. The bark is smooth now. No scratches. No initials. Nothing. As if the tree outlived your need to be known. And for a moment, You smile. Not with lips, not with joy. Just a small gesture of release. Because maybe this is what peace looks like. Not warmth, not reunion. Just finally accepting that being forgotten doesn't hurt anymore. You lie down, again. Not from sorrow, just gravity. Not the kind that pulls bones, but the kind that invites souls to stop asking questions, to stop needing form, to stop. You don't know your name. You don't know the year. You don't know if you ever did. And still, you remain as something. As presence. As the sound between the last breath and the first silence. You return to the river. The water doesn't notice. Why would it? Water forgets quickly. It has more important things to do than remember shadows. You lean into it, not to touch, just to feel the closeness of something that's still moving, something that's still real.
You're not sure if you wake this time. There's no shift, no change in light, no breath, no cold. Just a soft awareness that you're still here, somewhere, still part of something that isn't asking questions anymore. You move, or maybe the island moves around you. You're not certain. The air folds differently today, softer, thinner, like even the place is starting to forget what it was. The trees look older, but not broken, just quieter. Their silence has changed. It no longer feels like mourning. Now it feels like acceptance, as if even they know the story is finished, and they're ready to stop holding it. You drift past the clearing, the one where voices once tried to sound like singing. Now there's no echo, no memory, only wind. And even the wind doesn't linger here long. You pause near the edge of a half-dug pit. It's filled in now, not by hands, by time, by weather, by the quiet weight of a world that never came looking. You try to remember a voice, just one, not the words, just the tone, the rhythm of someone saying your name as if it mattered. But even that slips through your grasp like water through cloth. The island exhales again. It's a long breath, like something preparing to sleep, and you feel yourself sink with it, not down, just inward, deeper into the part of forgetting that no longer hurts. And if you're still here, somewhere inside this hush, take a moment to like the video and subscribe if you'd like to stay a little longer in this space between remembering and release. Tell me where you are. Tell me what time it is. Because here, time has let go of itself, and place has no name left. You return to the tree line. No one waits there now. Not bones, not stories, not the shape of fear. Even the shadows feel soft, not ominous, just tired. You feel a flutter, not emotion, not thought, just something small that once might have been hope. You let it pass. You don't need it anymore. You've outlived that part. You've outlived most parts. There's moss under you now. It rises, wraps around the shape you once held, not to bury,
not to trap, just to keep. The island is good at keeping things it doesn't speak of. You don't count days. You don't feel hours. You only feel the steady unwinding of a presence becoming less visible, less necessary, and somehow more whole. You wonder, was all this remembering for you or for them, the listeners, the watchers, the ones who showed up long after the hunger left? You hope it helped. Not them. The story. You hope it got to rest. You lie down one last time. Not from pain, not from grief, just because you've reached the edge. And beyond that edge, there is no need for memory, for shape, for you.
You are still. And for once, you don't need to move. There is no tension to escape, no hunger to explain, no voice to hold. You have outlived the story. The island breathes, and this time, you breathe with it. Not above, not around, with, in the same rhythm, in the same silence, not beside memory, within it. The moss beneath you doesn't feel cold anymore. You don't notice texture. You don't measure time. There is no difference between soil and soul now. You are both, and neither. You are place, presence, peace. You drift through the old paths without following them. They follow you. They've learned your shape and made space for it. Your shape, once so fragile, now softens, blurs, fades, as it should. There's a sound nearby, a soft crumble, a twig that bends, not breaks. You do not turn to look. The instinct to react has long since gone. You understand now. Things move. Things pass. You stay. You don't know what you were anymore. Not a prisoner, not a name, not a witness. You were only a thread in the larger fabric of silence and forgetting and forgiveness. And that was enough. That was always enough. You lie still, and the land welcomes you, not like a grave, like a home, one that no longer needs walls or sound or memory. And if you are still here, if your breath is slow and your body quiet, take a moment to like the video and subscribe if you'd like to keep walking until the walking stops. Tell me where you are. Tell me the hour. The island doesn't keep time, but maybe you do. For now. You begin to let go of shapes, the outline of hands, the sound of laughter, the image of a face you once promised to remember. It's not painful. It's soft. It's right. What was once a life becomes a breeze. What was once fear becomes loam.
and the story you carried becomes soil, rich, quiet, complete. You don't feel erased. You feel planted, gently, where things grow without being watched, where names aren't needed because the earth already knows everything worth keeping. The island is quiet, but not lonely, not anymore. You are in it now, not around it, not lost inside it. You are it. The whisper in the roots, the curve of the shoreline, the hush beneath the pine. You never needed justice. You never needed an ending. Only stillness, only a place to rest. And now you have it. Without asking, without earning, without needing to be remembered, because now you belong, and that is all.
You don't rise today, because there is no more you to rise. No edge between self and soil. No line between watching and being. You have gone where names don't reach, and you are at peace there. The island breathes without urgency. It inhales trees. It exhales memory. It holds you now, not as a ghost, not as a voice, just as part of its rhythm. There are no visitors, not today, not for many days. The boats stopped. The notebooks stopped. Even curiosity stopped. And that's okay. The story no longer needs witnesses. Only earth, only wind, only stillness. You do not drift. You do not float. You do not think. You rest in the deepest part of presence, the kind that doesn't speak, the kind that listens without ears, the kind that stays even after it's forgotten what it stayed for. You feel light, not in body, in meaning. No more questions, no more effort. You have nothing left to explain, nothing left to carry, nothing left to wait for. And still, you are here, not because you must be, because the land remembers how to hold what was once yours, and now it has made a place that does not forget, because it no longer needs to. And if you're still here, somewhere inside this hush, if this story rested gently beside you, take a moment to like the video and subscribe only if you'd like to stay a little longer in silence that means something. Tell me where you are. Tell me the time so I'll know who stayed to the end. A bird flies overhead. It casts a shadow you no longer notice. The sun doesn't warm you, but you remember what warmth was. Not the feeling, just the idea. That's enough. That's more than enough. The trees no longer stand over you. They stand with you. You are inside them now, in their rings, in their roots, in the way they creak when the wind is low and the past is heavy. You have no shape, no name, no need. You have no destination, no unfinished story. You are not memory.
You are not history. You are rest. You are hush. You are what remains when even grief lets go. There is no last word, no final line, only the knowing that the story did not disappear. It settled. It planted. It became moss and mist and soil and sky, and it became you. Good night, forever, or whatever comes after forever. You are no longer remembered. You are no longer lost. You are no longer waiting. You are here, and here is everything.